Hello and welcome. In this video tutorial, I'm going to update the Pacific Trails Resort website using the existing Pacific Trails website files from Chapter 8 as my starting point to create a new version of the website. You will want to work through all of the hands-on practice examples in this chapter to add to your skill set. In this chapter's case study, we will modify the Yurts page to use a table to display information. The purpose of a table is to organize information. An HTML table is composed of rows and columns, just like a spreadsheet. I'm at the W3 Schools website, and I'm on the information for CSS tables. You may want to come and peruse this web page as well. I'm going to go into my code editor, and I'm going to go to my Chapter 8 folder, and I'm going to right-click on this, and I'm going to copy. I'm going to right-click in this dark gray area, and I'm going to paste. I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to rename this to Chapter 9. And then I'm going to open this up, and inside of this Chapter 9 folder, I'm going to rename the CH8 Pacific to CH9. And I'm just going to select Enter. I'm going to go ahead and open up my Pacific.css style sheet. And I'm going to scroll down to the card row section style and before the first media query. This is where I want to add my next styles. First, I'll add a screen reader only text class named .sr-only. This style will keep content accessible to assistive technologies, but visually hidden from all users. This is the modern visually hidden technique often used for screen reader accessibility. The position absolute removes the element from the normal document flow. Width 1 pixel and height 1 pixel shrinks the element to almost nothing. Padding 0 removes any internal spacing. Margin with a negative 1 pixel moves the element slightly outside of the viewport. Overflow hidden hides any content that might overflow its tiny 1 pixel box. Clip rectangle clips the element to a zero-sized rectangle. Border 0 removes any border. Borders can make the element visible, defeating the purpose of hiding it. With this style, sighted users don't see the caption, but screen readers announce it, improving accessibility. After the closing brace, I'm going to add in a table element. I'm going to go ahead and type in a comment that says table styles. And then I'm going to triple click on this and use Control / to add in a comment. This helps to keep our CSS organized. Let's style the table itself. We'll add a border, collapse borders, and make the table full width. I'm going to type in table, and my first style is going to be border, and it's going to be 0.125 rem, solid, and I'm going to change the color. Instead of 003, I want it to be pound 1976 D2. And then I'm going to add in the border collapse and the width 100. So the border collapse merges adjacent borders so tables look clean. In the width 100 has the table fill the container width 100%, so the entire viewport. Notice how we're using rem units for the border. This keeps our design scalable and accessible. Next, we'll style the table headers. We'll give them a blue background and white text for readability. So after the closing brace, I'm going to type in TH, and this is for table headers. And the background color is going to be the dark blue background. And the color is going to be white. That's going to be for our text. So this makes the header text white. I don't need this padding style. I'm just going to go ahead and remove this. And I'm going to save my file. Now let's style the table cells, including padding and borders. Using rem units will help maintain responsiveness and scalability. After the closing curly brace, I'm going to type in TD, TH, so table data and table heading. And I'm going to type in border 01.25 rem, and it's going to be solid, the 1976 D2 color, and I'm just going to hit tab. And this is for the individual cell borders. My next style is going to be padding, and it's going to be the 0.5 rem, and this is for space inside each cell for readability, and I'm just going to select tab. For alignment, we want the text and regular cells to be centered, but text in cells with the class of text is to be aligned left. So after this closing curly brace, I'm going to add in TD, and it's going to be text align center, and this will center align the cell content.
It says in the instructions, notice that the content in the table data cells that contain the text description is not centered. Code a new style rule for a class named text that will override the TD style rules and left align the text. So we're creating this text class, but we haven't actually applied it. So a period TXT, my curly braces, and the code for that is going to be TA and then colon L for text align left. So I'm going to need that colon for me to be able to do text align left. Now we're going to configure alternating row background colors. The table will look more appealing if the rows have alternative background colors, but is still readable without them.
I'm next going to add a table row, and it's going to be nth-of-type, and it's going to be odd. The nth-of-type is a CSS pseudo class that selects elements based on their order among siblings of the same type. Odd chooses every odd numbered element in the sequence. So for instance, first, third, fifth. So this is for our table row, and we'll see that when we add in our table element in our Yurts page. So this is going to have a background color, and I'm going to add in a background color, but the color that I want is going to be pound FFCD6F. So this background color will be an alternate row shading of a yellow.
I'm going to go ahead and save this file, but I did want to mention that the table, they're generic styles that would be applied to all tables that would be in your web page files. I'm going to show you how to create a more specific table styles that's going to appear on the Yurts page. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save my file, and then I'm going to go to the validator. And I'm going to open up CSS Validator, and there is my validator. And I'm going to select by file upload, browse, select my CIS 152 folder, chapter 9, CH9 Pacific, Pacific, open, and check. Okay, great. Now I feel confident going on and adding to my Yurts page. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this, go back to my code editor, and open up the Yurts HTML page. I'm going to scroll all the way down to where my section element ends, but before my closing main tag. And I'm going to put in a few returns. And I'm going to type in a div that has the ID name of special. Now this isn't in your book, so I am deviating a little bit, but you'll see why in a little bit. I'm going to type in pound special and then tab, and it adds in that div. The div tag defines a division or a section in an HTML document and is used as a container, which is then styled with CSS. The div tag is easily styled by using the class or the ID attribute. Any sort of content can be put inside the div tag. I'm going to add an H3 element, H3, and I'm going to use my curly braces, and inside of there I'm going to type in Yurts Packages, and then outside of that closing curly brace I'm going to just select tab. And that will configure my H3, and I'm going to add in a paragraph. So P, once again, I can add in those curly braces, and I can add in some content around that. So I'm going to type in my contact, and I'm going to pause the video while I do that. All right, so I've typed in everything, but I'm at the end. I haven't actually selected the tab key. And you can see I've got this really long string. I'm going to go to the menu at the top and select View and turn on Word Wrap. For some reason, it did not stay on. All right, that's much better. And then I'm going to go and select Tab. Now, you can see that I have a problem with the word package. And if I put my cursor inside of the word package and then select the Control key plus the period key in order to bring up the dialog box that will display correct spelling options. I'm going to save my work. Now we're going to go ahead and configure the table. We're going to position our cursor on a blank line underneath the paragraph, and we're going to code a table that's going to have 4 rows and 4 columns. We're going to use the table, th, and td elements. And we're going to assign the td elements that contain the detailed descriptions to the class name text, and the content for the table as follows. So let me go ahead and start coding that page for you.
I want to change my screen layout so I can see the table changes appear as I write the code. I'm going to open my Show Preview, and I'm going to close my File Explorer. Right away, I notice I don't like the look of the H3 heading, but this shows that Yurt Packages is part of the Yurts section. Can I use an H2 instead? Technically, yes, I can use an H2 again for the table header, but it breaks the logical hierarchy if the Yurt Packages heading is conceptually a subsection of the Yurts. Using H3 is a better semantic choice because it reflects the page structure properly. So I'll leave that heading structure in place. Also note, the H2 heading is appearing in this page layout. Next, I'll create the table. I'll start with the table element. Inside, I'll add a caption. And inside this caption, I'm going to add a class of SR-only. The caption keeps it accessible and describes the table's purpose for screen readers. Between the caption tags, I'm going to write Luxury Yurt Packages. And after the closing caption tag, I'm going to type a TH head and tab. And the TH head contains the header row column titles. The table header cells are bold and centered by default. I'm next going to type TR, and this is going to be a table row. And inside of this table row is going to be th.package, and then tab. So I'm going to add the class of package. I'm going to type package name. The next table heading is going to be th, a period, and it's going to be th description and tab. And inside of this, I'm going to write description. And after this closing th tag, I'm going to go to the next one, th dot, and this is going to be nights and tab. And I'm going to type nights in here. After this closing th tag, I'm going to type th, and I'm going to type cost and tab. And then inside of here, this is going to be cost. And I'm going to save my work. Using classes on each th allows us to style these headers later with CSS, including responsive adjustments for mobile. Now let's add the tbody with our package details. We'll create one row for each package. The tbody contains the main data rows with TD for each cell. So I'm going to type tbody, tab, tr, tab, and inside of here I'm going to type TD, and it's going to be a class of package, and inside of this is going to be weekend escape. Then it's going to be TD and a class again, and this is going to be description, and also I'm going to apply and then text, and it's going to be to breakfast, a trail map, and a picnic snack. This next one's going to be TD nights. Notice it's plural. This is going to have the number 2. And this one is going to be the last one. It's going to be TD cost, and it's going to be $450. And I'm just going to save my work, Control S. So let's just take a look at this in my browser. Okay, so this is what it's looking like so far. So far, so good. I'll close my File Explorer to give me some more space. So after this closing TR, I'm going to create another. I'm going to close my preview. It's interfering with my ability to type. All right, I'm going to type in another TR, tab, and another TD package class, and then the tab key. And this is going to be Zen Retreat. TD description, a period, and text. So this is going to have 2 classes. And this is so that the text will align to the left. For the description, this is going to be for breakfast, a trail map, a picnic snack, and a pass for the daily sunrise yoga session. And the next TD is going to be for nights, td.nights and tab. And this is going to be 4 nights. And it's going to be, the next TD is going to be TD cost, tab. And the cost of this package is going to be $600. After this closing TR, I'm going to create another TR just to give me some space here, tab. It's going to be TD package, tab, and this is going to be a kayak away. After my closing TD, I'm going to create another one that's going to be TD description dot text. Remember, there are 2 classes on this table data, and this is going to be to breakfast, 2 hours of kayak rental daily, and a trail map. My next TD is going to be TD nights tab, and this is going to be 2 nights. And the next TD is going to be TD cost. So basically, I'm just looking above what I've already written so that this stays consistent. I'm going to select tab, and the cost for this one is going to be $500. And I'm going to save my work, Control S, and then I'm just going to format my document. And I'll look at this in my preview. All right, so there is my table. Make sure each TD cell has the correct class, package, description text, nights, or cost. This will allow our CSS to style each column appropriately and apply the responsive rules for mobile. So this is that these are all correct. Now that our table is in place, we'll make sure to update the Pacific CSS file to go ahead and add in our styles so that this is responsive on small screens. So if I was to make this larger, this is what it looks like larger, but on a small screen, we want this to stack vertically. Okay, so I'm going to go and open up my Pacific CSS file, and I'm going to scroll down to in the max width 32.5 rem media query after the footer, but before the closing curly brace, I'm going to go ahead and add in my styles. For tables with the ID special, we'll stack table cells vertically, we'll hide the table headers, and we'll add labels for clarity using the : before pseudo elements. So I'm going to type in my first style, which is going to be special, TD, and then pound special, TH. And I'm going to use display block, so DB and tab, and this will stack the cells vertically. And then the width is going to be 100%, and I'll select tab, and this will be a full width for each block. My next style is going to go after this closing curly brace, and it's going to be pound special table, and it's going to be margin 0. So margin 0 hyphen auto and tab. This CSS rule makes the ID special table center itself horizontally inside its container when the media query is active, because the table already has a set width of 100% from the global table style. So I'm going to just cut this style, and I want it to be the first one. We style the special ID table first, then its cells. Writing the table styles before the cell styles helps everything layer correctly, so padding, borders, and alignment work as expected. As we add the styles, we'll get to see more changes to this. Next, we're going to hide the table headers and remove spacing for a mobile-friendly layout. So after the closing curly brace, I'm going to type in pound special TH. And notice I have special spelled incorrectly. Don't want that error. And the height's going to be 0, and that's going to collapse the header height. And then I'm going to select margin 0, and that's going to remove any external spacing. And padding 0, and that's going to remove internal spacing. And then I'm going to do a font size of 0.625 rem and tab. And this is going to be a tiny font for accessibility for the fallback. And then I'm going to do border none, BD none, and tab. And then I'm going to do an overflow hidden. So O hidden, OH. So overflow hidden. And this hides any overflow content. And I'll save my work. And then I'm going to add labels before each cell for mobile display. So I'm going to add td.package and a : so this is going to be a pseudo selector before, and in parenthesis, I'm going to type content, and I'm going to put in quotation marks, package with a capital P, and then a space. Think of the : before pseudo element like a sticky label you add with CSS. It shows text or symbols before a table cell's content without changing the HTML. I'm going to go after the closing curly brace. I'm going to add another label. That's going to be TD description : before my curly brace. It's going to be content description I'm going to go back up here and put a colon after that package. And make sure that you put a space. We're going to need that space. The space after package colon and description colon in the quotes ensures a gap between the label and the table cell's content. The next one's going to be TD colon nights colon before, and it's going to be content nights colon, and then our last one is going to be TD cost colon before content cost. Make sure that on nights that you used an S and that you put an S in the capitalization where it says content for nights. Now we're going to make the individual cells block level and adjust padding for the labels. So this is going to be a multi-selector. It's going to be dot package dot description dot nights dot cost. I'm going to create a width of 100%, tab, and this will fill the parent width of the container. A padding left of 35% and tab, and this will make space for the before label, and then it's going to be a position of relative, tab, and this is going to allow absolute positioning of the before pseudo class, and then text align left, and this is going to align our text to the left. Then we're going to style the before labels for mobile readability. So after this closing curly brace, I'm going to add in TD colon before, and the width is going to be 25%. And the label will take up 25% of the block, and it's going to be a block layout DB display block. And this makes the label block for proper positioning. And then padding right of 0.625 rem. And this is spacing after the label. And then position absolute. Position absolute allows precise placement using top and left. The top 0.375 rem and the left 1 rem moves the pseudo element slightly down and to the right inside the cell. The color #39C changes the text color of the pseudo element to a blue shade. The font weight bold makes the pseudo element text bold, and the white space no wrap does not have a hyphen in it, so remove the hyphen. It should just be no wrap, all one word. This prevents the pseudo element's text from breaking into multiple lines. Imagine a sticky label inside each table cell, colored blue and bold, floating to the top left with some padding, showing something like package colon, and then on the right-hand side, weekend escape. And I'm going to save my styles. My preview window isn't working correctly, so I'm just going to close this. I'm going to make sure all of my styles are correct. I'll save my file, and then I'm going to open up my Yurts HTML in my live server to check this table as it appears on a desktop. By switching to responsive design mode in Firefox, you can see how the table looks on smaller mobile screens. I'll right-click, I'll inspect, I'll bring up the responsive design mode, and I'll go ahead and make this bigger and smaller. You'll want to resize your browser window to a narrow width to see the table adjust for mobile. The table row stacks vertically, and labels like package and description appear before each piece of data, making it easier to read on the small screens. And that's it. You've successfully added a table with the ID of special to the Yurts page. This table is fully styled and responsive, improving the user experience for both desktop and mobile visitors. Great job, and thanks for watching.